Good evening, you're watching Clash. I'm Madhadas Gopalakrishnan. This is my colleague and co-anchor Adar Khan. The issue that we're debating today are Rahul Gandhi's comments in Germany. The comments that he has made, not just the fact that he has linked demonetization with lynchings and violence that is taking place in India, but also the fact that he actually alludes to the ISIS. Is that the kind of anecdote and the kind of allegory that the Congress president really needs to make in the context of India and in the context of unemployment? That's a question that we're arguing at this point in time. I'm going to argue that Rahul Gandhi certainly did not need to make such distasteful remarks, and that too on foreign soil.
I'm going to argue that first of all, very clearly, Rahul has completely denounced the ISIS. He's called them a horrific entity. So by no means is he apologizing for any terror outfit. Number two, Rahul Gandhi was talking about exclusion and what it leads to, the dangerous precedents in the world, and trying to connect it and trying to give it an Indian context. It is perfectly well researched, perfectly empirically evidence-backed, and I will prove that during the course of the show tonight. But first, time now for our first question of the night on The Clash.
And this is the first question that we're debating. Is Rahul's ISIS analogy a half-baked thesis? The statement that Rahul Gandhi has made in relation to ISIS is not only insensitive, it is also extremely inappropriate. Because with this one statement or this one comparison, Rahul Gandhi has tried to sort of denigrate the entire Muslim community, because this is what he is saying. What he is saying at the end of the day is that such a situation of unemployment as existed in the state or the country of Iraq continues in India. This perhaps is what could happen in India as well. That is extremely shocking, because it is a statement that is also justifying terrorism. Shouldn't Mr. Rahul Gandhi be talking about the long years or decades of slow growth and unemployment under the Congress rule? Why has Mr. Rahul Gandhi forgotten all of that? Isn't this a legacy issue that this country has been dealing with for decade after decade? And end of the day, presuming that demo causes lynching and violence implies that all was well in this country before November 2016.
These three things that the government has done has made India angry. And that's what you get to read in the newspapers. When you hear about lynchings in India, when you hear about attacks on Dalits in India, when you hear about attacks on minorities in India, that's the reason for it.
Here's my counter, fair and simple. Rahul Gandhi was talking about the danger of exclusion. He was merely doing this. He was not apologizing for a terror front. He was not apologizing for Islamist terror or any kind of terror. He was talking about and connecting exclusion, frustration, and the resulting violence and chaos which is prevalent in India. Why? Because there are hordes of unemployed youth who become easy targets and are turned into hate militias. Their anger is channelized into becoming hate militias by certain elements of the ultra right wing in India. That is what Rahul Gandhi was talking about. It's a perfectly valid argument. Number two, jobless youth, like I said, are easy targets, and the BJP and the right wing has an interest for 2019 to make sure that there is anger on the streets and it is channelized into hate militias. BJP, the army chief, cited unemployed youth as the reason behind stone pelters and stone pelting in Kashmir. Rahul Gandhi merely is finessing that point and making a finer argument out of it. That's all.
A huge, powerful transformation, which is frankly shaping the entire world, requires certain protections for its people. And that protection is being taken away. And India is reacting to that.
Joining us tonight, Sudesh Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP on that side, along with Tuhin Sinha, an author. On this side, Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist, and Sunil Fernandez, he's an advocate on record, Supreme Court. Madhav, first question to you.
Well, let me begin with you, Ashutosh Mishra. At the end of the day, the BJP says that this is a statement that has denigrated all Muslims. Because what is the underlying thought? That if unemployment continues, there will be an ISIS-like terrorist organization that will come to rise here in India.
No, what Rahul Gandhi was saying, his cardinal sin is that he has spoken the unpleasant truth. And as they say in Sanskrit, na buryat satyam apriyam. He has done that. What he has tried to show is that empty minds is devil's workshop. If people don't have jobs, they can be misled. And as Athar pointed out, the general had said that stone pelting in Kashmir, one of the reasons was that people have nothing, so if they were given money, they used to pelt stone. That's what he is pointing out too. What he is pointing out is that the MSME sector, as you were saying that it's a legacy issue, no. The recent GDP figures, if you say, India was doing better under UPA. Those figures have been taken off the government website now. But that's the truth. So where is the issue there, or why blame Congress?
Okay, very quickly, Tuhin Sinha first. I'll come to you. I know you have a point. Tuhin Sinha, what Rahul Gandhi was trying to make sure was, he spoke the unpleasant truth. He did speak the unpleasant truth because he was talking about exclusion. His charge is that the current government is excluding large chunks of the population for their own agenda, and that could lead to chaos. The ISIS reference was just that, a reference to understand the Indian context of it. He was not being an apologist for terror.
You know, Rahul Gandhi has this habit of using wrong references, but anyway, we'll come to that later. The point is, by making such a ridiculous analogy, either Rahul Gandhi does not understand India or he does not know anything about the IS. Point is, this was a clear attempt to absolve some of the radical groups in the world, because if you blame unemployment for the creation of ISIS or any other terrorist groups, you mean to say that the radical groups do not exist in the world? This is the most ridiculous argument anybody can come up with. And when it comes to lynching, if economic reforms lead to lynching, what was it that led to lynching in 1984? Thirdly, if, let's suppose, for a moment we go by Rahul Gandhi's ridiculous logic, is he trying to say that all these Congress people are lying, that there is no communal angle to lynching at all, which is what they've been trying to project all through?
Your time is up. Madhav?
All right. Question to Sunil. Sunil, in fact, at the end of the day, rather than justifying terrorism, why doesn't the Congress come out and talk about the decades of unemployment and slow growth that this country is seeing?
First things first. Let's put it in the proper context. When someone criticizes a country, that has to be distinguished from criticism of its government. Yeah. If I say a country XYZ is a fundamentalist, intolerant country, I am criticizing that country. But if I say government ABC of a country XYZ is not being true to its constitutional ethos, I am not criticizing the country, I am criticizing only the government, the political color of that government. So first and foremost, my view is that these micro issues can be dealt with, but the macro issue which the viewer has to be informed about, which the audience has to be informed about, is he did not criticize India, he did not criticize the idea of India. His criticism was directed only at the government, which has the most prominent leader of the opposition. It was his right, it was his duty, and we should not twist his comments into micro issues.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, very quickly, Sudesh Verma, this is Noam Chomsky on ISIS. He's a world authority. I'm sure you won't doubt his intellect. He says, and this is on ISIS, on where they came from. I quote, "They're not coming out of nowhere. I mean, they are one of the effects, the main effects of the US invasion of Iraq. There have been many other horrible effects, but one of them was to incite sectarian conflicts that had not been there before." So we understand that ISIS came out of somewhere, of the space created because of the US invasion. He is merely saying what Chomsky said in a different language. How is he criticizing India? Or Indian Muslims for that
matter? Let me give my opening statement first, because I have to do justice to what Mr. Rahul Gandhi said there. You see, it's like a crybaby. Mr. Rahul Gandhi does not have faith on the Indian electorate. It's in league with what Manish Sharkaria did in Pakistan, Salman Khurshid did in Pakistan, help us oust Modi. It's the same thing that some NGO people went, appealed to Obama, that don't give visa to Mr. Modi when Modi ji was the chief minister, and when he became prime minister, you have seen the crescendo that went against him. It's the same thing Rahul Gandhi ji is doing when he's going out and like a crybaby, he's telling the European world that there is violation of human rights, Dalits are not safe, Muslims are not safe, women are being tortured, so now you have to intervene. Modi has to go, so I cannot do anything, you have to come and support. This is ISIS. Tell me, Osama bin Laden, was he illiterate? Was he uneducated? Most of the people who have joined ISIS, they have come from a very, very well-to-do background.
Let me take that question. That's a very relevant point that he's raised. I want to just take off from there. End of the day, Osama bin Laden came from a very, very wealthy family. He was from a family of builders. They still have huge amounts of property in different parts of the Middle Eastern cities. I don't want to get into the details, but that entire logic of Rahul Gandhi is punctured when you take the example of Osama bin Laden.
So first to point out what Mr. Verma was saying, UP is having a Dalit Chintan, which shows that there is something wrong with how Dalits are being treated in UP. And we all know the Chief Minister of UP says हम दिवाली मनाते हैं, ईद नहीं मनाते. Skull caps are not accepted. So these are the sort of hints
So
that
are
are
you in
given.
support of skull cap?
And what Mr. Sinha was saying about communal lynching.
When did his skull cap come into
because
Islamic
that person is
lexicology? Tell me
frustrated that he does not know. He is
Skull cap
misled into
doesn't have an
believing
integral
that
faith in
his
Islam.
rights are
It is a later development.
are being actually going to let's say a Hindu believing that Muslim is taking away.
It's not Hindu or Muslim.
No. That is where communal lynching comes in.
Don't take it to common language.
Now, one second.
It's not Hindu or Muslim.
The Osama counter, I have it, but I'll let my guest do it. Yes.
Osama's
People from Bangalore have gone.
Poor
People from Bangalore who
So
were experts in
once
IT.
you have people
They have
like-
gone and recruited
You're
themselves
making my
as
point.
ISIS.
a rich man can
Why are they
mislead
going?
poor
Are they
people.
going because they are unemployed?
I'll tell you why.
No, if
They
I
are
answer
going
the
because they
question,
find
can you
certain
make my
consciousness
point?
in the
You're
ideology of
making my
Islam.
point for me. You're making my point.
Islamic State is not for
You are
unemployed.
making my point for me. I'll tell you how. but
Sure,
first-
sure.
if I have some patience for Mr. Sinha, I'd just like
Yes.
to counter the Osama example. Is absolutely irrelevant.
Yes.
Osama bin Laden is a manifestation of a radical Wahhabist, Salafist ideology that emanated in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with the situation or the challenges the Indian Muslim community faces back in India.
Yes.
I
The
thought you
moot
would
point.
say-
The moot point.
But that's what Rahul has said.
Just one
No,
minute.
he hasn't
The
said
moot
that.
point. The moot point is that he was at the end of the day making certain pertinent points with regards to the problems that we in India are facing. Now, a constructive criticism by a leader of opposition in a foreign land cannot be construed as an attack on India.
So
No,
can
but
I
it's a
come in
bad
for a moment?
analogy is what he's
So
saying, and I just want to correct
I'll
his
come in
point.
for a moment.
Just two
The criticism
points.
is not on the
I
analogy.
just want to.
So
I don't know. I
you're
am coming on the
questioning his
analogy.
patriotism.
Yes.
No, my question
You're
is no.
questioning
He
his
has
Indianness.
questioned the
I'm sorry,
analogy,
you're
and I'm saying.
questioning his patriotism.
So I need to come in. Can I just come in for a moment?
One at a time, please.
Because
Just give me a moment.
for
Just give me a moment. Just give me one quick moment. Okay, I'll allow you to make a point.
You know,
and
you
then I'll
just
come in.
mentioned that ISIS ideology is rooted in Wahhabism. I don't think anybody over here has any doubt over that. That puts the entire, argument to, that just puts, consigns it to the dustbin.
My example was on
You know,
Osama.
how can you
Madhav,
compare joblessness with something which is rooted in Wahhabism?
Exactly.
Madhav,
That is
Because
something.
it's the rich person there who
No,
is
no,
taking care
One at a time, please. One at a time. He makes a point, and then I'll come
If you
to
are
it.
under the influence of Wahhabism, you will be affected irrespective of whether you are rich or poor.
One second,
For the
I will counter
for the
that. I will
benefit of
counter
your
that.
viewers, let me tell you that till the London bombings happened, all the European mindset, Western mindset was the same, that India is not able to grapple with this problem, there is unemployment, there is poverty, that is why terrorism India is suffering from. After that, they changed it, because those who were involved in London bombings were the people who got education in London, who got the best of the system.
I don't know what worldview you're talking about, sir. I don't think the understanding of the world is so naive. What you're saying is absolutely untrue, sir. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
On ISIS, sir, on ISIS, we may not like it, but ISIS is, or the idea that ISIS promulgates of an Islamic caliphate, unfortunately does appeal to a large section of a brutalized population that has been severely under attack for a very long time. And Chomsky says, I'm quoting Chomsky again here, something has appeared which has an appeal to them. What is it? And he's also telling us how to deal with it. That is exactly what Rahul Gandhi is doing, and I quote him now. We have to ask, what's the nature of the appeal? Why is it there? Educated people, like you said. Now, and the question is how can we maybe some kind of settlement or deal with this? You cannot ignore these factors if you want to deal with the issue. Rahul Gandhi wants to deal with the issue.
I really admire
He
you
is
for being able to
not
defend
being
Rahul Gandhi the way
for
no Congress
anybody.
spokesperson has been able to do that. I really admire you for that.
It's ideological,
But
it's born out of poverty, you have to defend that.
Okay.
Doesn't matter whether
Let me
you
go.
are- you are for or against a party,
Okay, but
doesn't matter.
please,
It's a question of an intellectual
but
answer.
just one point, I think what you missed out, while you may be extremely kind and considerate towards Rahul Gandhi, his speech was rather mischievous, because in the same speech, where he defended a Wahhabi sect, he also pointed out the flaws in the Hindu religion.
Entity.
Okay.
He also,
How can anyone call
I have a bigger point to make. Before we take the second question, I have one quick point to make, and you can respond to me on this. There is before we take the second question, two very important points, and please note this, because because these are factual mistakes that Rahul Gandhi has made.
Of course.
Rahul Gandhi referred to the job in the ISIS analogy. Why was he wrong? This entire de-Baathification order, and I'm quoting him when he said de-Baathification order, was nullified by a law passed by an Iraqi parliament in 2008. The legislation is called the Accountability and Justice Law. It removed any ban on Baath party members from occupying positions. ISIS, on the other hand, became a potent force in Iraq only in 2011 and 12, 4 years after the law had been passed. And Rahul referred to the law that debarred only Baath party members and not Sunnis in general. So he's factually completely wrong over here. Your response?
Let's assume he's factually wrong. I take the worst case, factually assuming he's wrong. Does that by any yardstick say he justifies ISIS?
Absolutely not.
No,
So,
but
by
he is in a sense legitimizing it. He is saying same thing can happen in India.
Can we seriously debate this issue?
He started his own problems in India.
Somebody can already
What are you doing this? What are you doing this? You are saying that they are fallen out of employment. What are you doing then? You are justifying that. You are justifying ISIS. Tomorrow Bangladesh will be one of the poorest countries.
That is terribly reductionist.
One at a time.
It's not true. That is terribly reductionist.
And then going by that theory itself, going by that theory itself,
Sir, he is saying that if you don't provide a vision, if you don't guide a person,
why is Rahul Gandhi just denied?
I have another factual mistake, but I'll take that up. I have another factual mistake. Okay, I have another factual mistake, but I'll take that up after we take the second question for this evening. And this is the second question that we are debating. Should Rahul Gandhi have belittled India abroad?
One second.
So here's my submission. At the end of the day, Rahul Gandhi should have perhaps thought out his statements, the implications of his statements, the implications of linking demonetization with lynching and giving the allegory or the example of ISIS before making such comments on foreign soil. And why are we saying that? Because not only at the end of the day has Rahul Gandhi stirred up a huge political debate by doing that, he has also in many senses come out and in fact sort of insulted the nation on foreign soil. That's the question that we are making, because over here, by going on foreign soil, raising domestic issues, raising issues which should be discussed within the domestic sphere here in India, he has made it in an international platform. And also, I'd like just to leave with one factual mistake that Rahul Gandhi has made. He has come out and said that ISIS, and attributed to ISIS a lot, but ISIS's origin is in fact in 1999 in Jordan. Its parent outfit was Jamaat al-Tawhid wal-Jihad, or the Organization of Monotheism, which was set up by Zarqawi. So a lot that Rahul Gandhi has got factually wrong as far as the origin and in fact the reason that ISIS actually became active.
He spoke all lies, no facts, denigrated India and supported terrorism, for which we need an explanation from Mr. Rahul Gandhi.
मोदी जी के शासनकाल में राजनीतिक शोषण नहीं हुआ, सशक्तिकरण किया गया। विदेशों में घूम करके और भारत को बदनाम करने से बेहतर होगा कि इस देश में जो है वो देश की हकीकत और देश की सच्चाई को समझें।
Here's my counter. To say that Rahul Gandhi has denigrated anyone, including the minorities or even the country, is absolutely ridiculous. The Prime Minister on his foreign tours attacks his critics, his political opponents. Double standards cannot apply here. You have to be able to take what you dish out. And speaking on denigrating India or Indians on foreign soil, the Prime Minister, after he became Prime Minister in 2014, said, till last year, and I'm quoting the Prime Minister, Indians were ashamed of admitting they were from India. They said, हमने क्या पाप किया है, हम हिंदुस्तान में पैदा हुए. Is that not insulting the country? Is that not insulting all those people who've been proud to be Indians ever before Mr. Modi came to the political limelight? Now, my only question and my only counter now left is this. A logical, critical observation made either in India or on foreign soil must be answered with a coherent explanation, not just empty outrage. Rahul Gandhi at no point supported terrorism or justified ISIS. He called them a horrific entity. He was just spilling out facts that have been absolutely well regarded in the West on how to deal with ISIS, how it came about.
BJP has promised that they will provide 2 crores employment every year. Now they have completed 4 years and only 4-5 months away, elections are away. So by now, if not 9 crores, at least 8 crores people would have got the employment, but they haven't got.
Even the BJP leaders are saying, BJP Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje said the lynching is rising in India because unemployment is rising in India.
All right, Sudesh Verma, you wanted to respond to
Athar.
Athar.
I'll just respond to this first, then come to Athar.
Sure.
Which means that the ideological tinge which you gave to lynching, that is no longer there. That is one thing which is good for the country. That what we were saying.
It's there. It's there.
Hold on, Asutosh. I did not interfere. Let me react to what you said, Athar. Every time I hear that Rahul Gandhi does something wrong in US, you quote one statement from Prime Minister,
there are many others.
Which happened during the campaign when India was not rated high by most of the credible institutions and India was suffering from lethargy, and he said that we need change because we need new dynamics. That was never an insult to the country. That was the existential reality. But now what is the situation? You have insulted the country on the front of minorities. Minorities are suffering. Tell me where minorities are suffering. Dalits are suffering. Where Dalits are suffering? We have strengthened the law, and he says that he has not even read the law.
You're saying
and
where are Dalits
he's a
suffering?
parliamentarian.
Why is UP having a Dalit center?
Atrocity Act has been amended and backward. The 123rd Amendment.
And Dalit suffering. And then you say women are suffering. I read your discovery of India.
Listen to your own MPs. BJP listen to the BJP Dalit MPs. They say Dalits are suffering.
They used to participate in democratic process.
Okay. I'm just going to buttress your point. The 123rd Constitutional Amendment Bill that was passed in this session has given protection to backward classes. There's also been the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Bill. Why just build this narrative that NDA is against Dalits or backward classes?
Narrative and falsehood.
Because just having the laws doesn't solve the problem. It's how it's being implemented. The question has been raised by Dalit MPs of BJP.
Okay, 10 seconds.
That it's there.
My point is when you talk about exclusion, you should either have facts with you or you should not speak about it. So in all the government schemes launched in the 4 years, whether it is the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana or whatever, if you can point out specific persecution, then your argument holds. Otherwise, it's just a hallucination. Otherwise, it's just a concoction which you are creating.
I think it's a horrendous twisting of whatever he has said. No Congress president, certainly I don't think Mr. Rahul Gandhi can ever justify phenomena like ISIS. And at the end of the day, the criticism was directed at the government. Yes. It is at a certain political party to twist it and make it as if it is some sort of a deficiency on his patriotic.
We're out of time.
Right.
We're out of
Completely
time.
out of time today.
Thank you so much, Sudesh Verma, for joining us. Thank you to Insina as well as Sunil Fernandez and Ashutosh Mishra. From Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan and Athar Khan, thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow.